Did you have your lunch already?
I did. I had a quick burger.
Good for you. All right.
And we've got fish here,
Yes,
have we?
fish is here. Oh, wow. You're allowed to touch them. We're not allowed
Oh,
to
no, gosh. Yeah, they're the puppets, I think. They're real.
Yeah.
That's her daddy, so.
He's
He's allowed to touch his daddy.
It's so cute. Aw. Yeah, they're fantastic. I just want to sit around and play with them, really.
Did you get to go to the studio at all?
I did get to have a visit to the studio.
They let you play around with the characters?
I did, yeah. It was, and I also got a bit of animating with Travis, so we switched the little faces and did some of the animation.
Awesome.
It's cool. Cool.
Were you always a fan of stop motion in particular? Animation.
I'd seen stop motion before, and I'd always enjoyed animation, but I don't think I had a grasp of really exactly what it was like. I mean, I'd enjoyed it and everything, but I had absolutely no idea the whole world behind it all.
But you've done voiceover work for animation movies before, or anything?
No, never.
So it's first
animation.
And
Yeah.
how's that for you?
It's been very different and very new.
So what was the process of actually getting the role then?
I just did a self-tape audition, and I got a call back, and we started shooting when I got the role. So yeah.
I know that normally you do it by yourself in a recording booth. Did you have any chance to meet with any of the other actors?
Yeah, well, usually you always have a reader who's reading the other lines with you, so you're not sort of just completely out of context. But yeah, you finally get it with the other person, and something sort of clicks. Because you're actually conversing with someone who you'll be conversing on screen, so you really get that actual kind of feeling of how it will feel when people watch it.
Great.
What was your greatest challenge, and what do you enjoy the most?
I wouldn't describe any of it as sort of a challenge, more just something new and sort of exciting. So I suppose animation as a whole is just a new challenge because it's something I've never ever done before. And the most exciting part, I think, would have to be getting to have a tour around Leica Studios, just because it was absolutely magical.
When you do something like animation that you're not seeing, do you put the same thought into the script that you would do into a part where we're actually seeing you act?
So what was exactly the question?
When you're doing something like this that's animation, do you put the same thought into choosing a project that you would if it's something that we see you performing? Or you said this was your first time, was it more about, oh, I want the new challenge?
It was more just being able to do a project with Leica. It wasn't really that I sort of chose anything like that or thought, I like the look of this. Just being offered to do something with Leica was enough to make me go on board.
Does that mean you were a fan of their previous work, like Coraline?
Yeah, I'd seen Coraline and Paranormal. When I got the role, Paranormal was just about to come out. So you forget that they're really quite a new studio in terms of their feature-length films. You kind of think they've been around for ages just because it takes them so long to churn out a new film.
So did you film this, or not film, but did they record you in England? Were you able to be in your home, or
Yes,
were you
yeah.
working,
Yeah.
doing other stuff at the time? Were you...
Well, we shot it probably over the duration of about 2 years in total. And yeah, we had to fit it in sometimes around Game of Thrones. But yeah.
Okay.
What do you like about this story that you want to work?
Well, number one, it's a very, very cute story, especially the Boxtrolls. They're sort of irresistible. Look at them. But I suppose sort of the message at the core of it is quite sweet. Or kind of serious. The whole idea of challenging the received wisdom, not just listening. Have you seen the film? Yeah. So spoilers. Not just sort of listening to what everybody around the town is saying, and not just sort of immediately disliking something without really knowing anything about it.
How does Egg speak English so well?
That is a very good question.
I know it's not up to you to decide.
That is actually a very good question.
I mean, I guess he learned it from the music.
Maybe, but surely his vocabulary would be pretty limited then. Just be able to sing songs. We'll have to raise that with the directors.
All right.
I think you just destroyed the movie there. I hope you're happy.
No, it's still great.
Did you have input as to the looks for the eggs? I mean, did they cater eggs looks to look kind of like you or behave or?
Well, we did notice that eggs looked sort of uncannily similar to me, but I don't think that was really on purpose. I think it was sort of a mixture of Axton and looking a little bit like me. So sorry, what was the rest of the question?
No, I was wondering if you have contribution or input as to eggs design or anything.
Oh no, nothing like that, nothing like that. But they come up with it, and they've got their ideas of it way before you get involved in the project. I think this had been in development for a good 7 years before I became involved.
Did you see any of their mannerisms in it? Because you know how they always say that voice actors sometimes they sometimes use some of the voice actors' mannerisms in the actual animation. Do you see some of yourself?
Well, what they'll use as a reference point is they'll be filming you when you're recording, and sometimes they'll use that to get an idea of how you'll look. But mainly that kind of mannerisms and all the acting in that isn't done by the actor. It's done by the animators, who are they're the real actors in this, frankly. So they'll be there and they'll work with the directors, and the directors will get them to block out an idea of how they'd like them to look or sit or move their hands at a certain point, and the animators will breathe life into that.
But did you see, when you saw the film, did you see any sort of thing about you that was in there?
I don't know, I'm not sure. I'm sure there's probably something of me in there, but I don't know if it's entirely me. Yeah, I'm always doing that.
I love that. I've adopted the shaking hand.
It's good.
I love it.
I'll have to do it in the next round table. How are you doing, everyone?
A lot of English actors are famous. They studied at RANA and they do all the Hamlet and the Shakespeare. You're still very young as an actor. Do you have any interest in maybe going and taking classes at RANA or some other acting school in the UK?
Acting never really was my sort of passion or anything. I fell into it by accident, and it was by no means intentional. And acting one of some various interests I have, so I'm not sure if that would be exactly what I would do as a sort of university degree or anything.
So if you don't act, what do you want to do?
I'd like to study science, I think, study physics. But I'm interested in piano and school and lots of other things as well.
What grade are you in?
I am in, I don't know what I'm 15, I'll be 15 going on 16 this school year, so I think that's, I think it's just going into high school now.
Freshman.
Yeah, that's it, freshman, that's it.
I'm a senior, that's why.
How do you think the Boxtrolls would survive in the Game of Thrones world?
They'd be dead like that. They're far too kind. An instant. Or maybe they would be the magical kind of ones who would hide in the caves. In fact, maybe they even are. Maybe that is going to be the big plot twist in Game of Thrones. There are Boxtrolls living underneath.
You mentioned falling into acting by accident, so what exactly is that story about how you got in?
Well, I just went to a local drama group because I was looking for something to occupy myself with at the weekends. And I just sort of enjoyed the little drama games and the fun and games you do there more than any sort of hardcore thespianism. And Game of Thrones were doing an open casting, and my drama teacher said, "Oh, well, you and a couple of others should go up. It's quite a fun experience to go and sort of have a taster of the showbiz world, and it doesn't matter if you don't get it, just have a good time, really." And I went up and I did one audition, another one, and then got the role. And then sort of this bizarre whirlwind of all this madness kicked off.
What kind of music are you into these days?
Classical music.
Really?
Yeah.
Any favorites?
I love the Romantic era, so and piano music, it tends to be my favourite. So I love Liszt and Chopin and Schumann, Rachmaninoff.
You play?
Like that. Yes, yeah, I play piano.
Wow. Are you good?
Quite
I
good.
bet you are.
Pretty good.
That is all right.
I was at Comic-Con when you promoted this movie, and
that was really good fun. I absolutely loved Comic-Con. Yeah, because Comic-Con is right up my street. I'm a real nerd, so I do Minecraft and lots of video games and sort of interest in that stuff. So it was really kind of dream come true for me. And obviously the Boxtrolls stuff was fun too. The bug truck was certainly an experience I shan't forget. We had this Eat Like the Boxtrolls food truck, and obviously Fish's favourite food is bugs. So they had this great bug chef called David George Gordon, and he was David Lloyd. No, he's a British Prime Minister. David Lloyd George, I was thinking. Came over and created all these mad concoctions with. We had fried tempura tarantula. Tempura prawns. No, tempura crickets. I wish they were tempura prawns. So I tried some of those, which were absolutely revolting. But good bragging rights now. I ate a tarantula.
So what are you doing right now? Are you working on game? Or
Yeah, we're shooting Thrones at the moment.
Really? Okay. What, you can't tell us anything?
Nope, there's a sniper on the balcony over there.
But your character will live through the end of the run of the show.
I personally hope so, but you never know what George is going to do.
You always killed off my beloved characters.
I know. No one is safe.
No one is safe, okay.
Do you like a lot of music? Do you see yourself making compositions for any movies maybe in the future?
Well, it's interesting you say that. I in New York when we were doing some of the press stuff for Game of Thrones. They had the New York Philharmonic Orchestra play the Game of Thrones theme tune at the premiere, and I was lucky enough to go and sit in on their rehearsal with the Game of Thrones composer Ramin Djawadi, and that was just. I can't even explain how incredible that was to be in sort of this small rehearsal room with this sort of breathtaking sound from an orchestra playing the Thrones theme tune. And I got chatting to Ramin, who's sort of the loveliest composer. You'll have meet really sort of sweet, friendly, quite quiet Iranian German guy who has a studio down in Santa Monica. So I was lucky enough to go and have a visit to that as well. Which was really cool, and he showed me all about how they make the Game of Thrones music, and showed me a lot of the software he uses. So after having a look at that, I would certainly be interested in doing something like that.
So after season 5, Game of Thrones, the next hiatus, what kind of next movie project you'll be doing, or anything already on?
At the moment, I'm really focusing on school. It's quite busy
over
there at the moment, but nothing on the horizon at the moment.
Do you, like here in the States, do you have to juggle school? Like you can only work so many hours on Thrones, and then you have to do so many hours of school?
Yeah, absolutely. I make sure. Well, my school are really, really friendly about it, and they give me all the work I need to do, and I just make sure I get it done. Which can be a bit of a pain on set because you'll be in your costume or whatever, but they're pretty good at scheduling days to do it. And then I just come back, and I'm usually actually even ahead of where everyone else is because I've been able to sort of do a bit more.
And then when do you get in your piano playing time?
I play that pretty much every day at home, so I don't really run out of time to do it. Game of Thrones doesn't take up that much time because it's pretty sporadic. You only have a week there or a week there. It's not sort of a block of 6 months.
Can you play Game of Thrones theme?
I had a go at it a while ago. Yeah.
Okay, good. Just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Which of your co-stars were you most excited to meet, or have you met most of them at this point on this?
I've only met Elle, Sabine, and Simon Pegg, and they've all been really friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Sabine is a pretty terrifying character as well.
In person? Or?
In person,
oh, okay.
Yeah. No, sorry, he's no snatcher or anything. But I remember when we first met, we were doing a recording session in this very, very small studio in Oxford, and did he mention he's got a very special, well he'll probably tell you about this, he's got a great chair which he reclines in like this, so he can get the voice from where he wants it. And we were in this very small recording booth, and his chair was taking up most of the space. I was in the corner, and he was going, "Oh!" It was pretty scary.
Very nice.
Yeah. But I'd love to meet Rich Dioadi on this one,
Yeah.
because he's very funny.
Mm-hmm. But you met Simon Pegg, but not Nick Frost. Okay.
Yeah.
And speaking of music, we were talking about music. Eric Idle did the song "The Boxtrolls"
I know.
for this, which is you know,
I mean, that's quite something, isn't it?
not bad.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good song, so it's quite
I
fun.
like it. Yeah.
Yeah. So who are your music idols?
Oh, my favourite would be Liss, just because he really was the sort of the first pop star. You know, there's one story I read somewhere. Well, basically he would go around playing all these virtuosic pieces, and the harder the piece he played, the more people loved him, and he really was sort of a Justin Bieber of their day, before music went downhill.